Hi, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be doing a reading vlog for the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So I finally ordered these books. I'm so excited to finally get into them. With the TV show coming out, I really wanted to finally read these books. So yeah, I really wanted to do a reading vlog for them. I feel like these are going to be really cute, like perfect books for summer. So many people seem to love this series a lot also. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I know like a little bit about it, like the general synopsis and you know how it's kind of like a love triangle, I guess. I do know the ending, like I know who she ends up with, so I wish I didn't know because I feel like it would have made it so much better and it would have made it more fun, like trying to see who she ends up with and like kind of choose a team. I know that there's the two teams, like Team Jeremiah and Team Conrad, which I feel like I can still like kind of pick a team, but I feel like knowing who she ends up with is going to influence like how I feel about it. I mean, it might be really obvious because I feel like in love triangles it's always really obvious from the beginning who they end up with, but I still like not knowing. Unfortunately, I know. So yeah, but I am still really excited to read these, and I also am going to obviously be watching the show once it comes out, so I might do like a vlog or video or something on that, like kind of sharing my thoughts on that and like comparing the two, like that sort of thing. So yeah, once that's out, I'll probably do a video on that too, and I'm really excited for that. So I am gonna try to keep this spoiler free for the most part. I'll probably go like a little bit in detail of like things that happen. They might be considered spoilers for some people. I won't go like too in depth, like giving anything away, but I do want to like obviously be able to actually talk about these books and give my thoughts. And then I think I might just do like a section at the end where I kind of give like an overall review, and in that I'll probably do like actual spoilers and go like really in depth into things depending on what I want to talk about. So yeah, right now I actually am reading a different book, so I'm gonna finish that book first obviously, and I'll probably get into these books tonight and then share my thoughts as I read them. So it's a couple days later and I just finished book one last night, so I'm gonna go ahead and share all my thoughts on it. So I thought this book was really cute and I really enjoyed reading it. I thought it did a really good job of setting everything up. I feel like not a lot happened in this book. There kind of wasn't that much of a plot honestly, but I feel like it kind of was meant to set things up for like the next book, and so I feel like it did do a good job at that. Like I really enjoyed reading all of that and getting to know these characters and the setting and everything, so I really liked it. I thought it was good in terms of like a start to a series, and I thought it was really interesting from the beginning. Like right away I was pulled into the story and I kind of was invested like from the beginning, and I liked that the chapters were really short and that it was like kind of alternating timelines. Like we would get stuff in the past and then it would come back to the present day, and all the stuff in the past was like obviously relevant to what was happening now, and so I really liked kind of getting all of that background in the way that it switched with each chapter kind of. And so yeah, I just feel like a lot of that background information really added to the story obviously, and kind of just gave you more information about these characters and kind of their relationships and everything. But yeah, this book was just adorable. I really loved kind of the summery vibes of it. Like it just made me want to be at the beach, and I really loved the idea of it too, like the whole concept of these two best friends like going to this beach house every summer with their kids, and the kids obviously being friends with each other. And I really liked the friendship between the moms. I thought that was really sweet, and of course we see the friendship amongst all their kids. I do feel like there wasn't like that much of a friendship between Belly and all of the boys. Like they were obviously all friends and she was kind of like the outsider among them. Going into it, I thought like she was super close to them also. I thought they were just like a group of really close friends, but it seems more like the boys are friends and she's just kind of there. Obviously she is like friends with them, but yeah, as far as the characters, I feel like there's still 2 more books left, so I'm like, I don't know like what's gonna happen and what's gonna happen to these characters, so I'll just obviously give my opinion as of now, but who knows what's gonna happen in the next 2 books. So far I do like Belly. I thought she was a good character. She's like relatable. I don't know, I feel like there's not too much to say about her, but I just like her overall. She didn't do anything that made me dislike her, but I feel like I still don't know her well enough to like have an opinion. Like I need to get into the other books too and see kind of what happens. And so obviously this series is like a love triangle between Belly and Conrad and Jeremiah. There was also this other character in this book, Cam, and so it kind of created like 3 different love interests basically. And so as of now, like I know who she ends up with. I'm not gonna say, like I don't want to give any spoilers, but I know who she ends up with, so like I'm trying not to let that sway my opinion too much on like who I like. But usually I feel like most of the time I do end up liking the person that the main characters end up with in like love triangle situations. Like I always end up preferring the one that they choose, but I don't know how I'm gonna feel with this book. But so far, so we have Conrad. I feel like I don't really like him that much. Like his personality, he didn't really talk much, and she obviously has this huge crush on him, and I don't know, I just feel like I wish we would have seen more of like before this summer, I guess, because I feel like it seems like there's a lot to these characters and to their stories, and I feel like we're kind of just like missing some of that. Like, she's really in love with Conrad, and obviously there has to be like reasons for that, and we got like little pieces of it, of like things that happened when she was younger that made her like kind of really like him. But I still feel like, I don't know, I guess because of the way he was in this book, I didn't see why she liked him, because he was just so like just kind of there, and he was really like weird around her. I think he kind of likes her though, so maybe that's why. And obviously he had a lot of stuff going on with his family and his life. But yeah, as of right now, I'm not really sure how I feel about him. I don't care too much about him yet, but we'll see what happens with the next couple books. And then with Jeremiah, he obviously seems a lot more like outgoing and likable compared to Conrad, but at the same time I didn't really see like much between him and Belly. I know they were friends, so yeah, I don't know how I feel about him either, but he did seem a little bit more likable to me than Conrad. But I don't know, I think part of me also likes Conrad a little bit more because of the way that he was, even though I just said that I didn't like the way that he was. But like, not necessarily that I like him more. I think I like him more for Belly, but I guess I don't necessarily like him more. I don't know who I like more, honestly, at this point. I just feel like they're very different from each other. But yeah, but Jeremiah, he was a sweet character. I liked him, I guess, but I also feel like there wasn't too much to him for me to form like much of an opinion. I kind of feel like that with all these characters, obviously. And so obviously like the characters eventually do kind of reveal their feelings for each other. And when Jeremiah did, I don't know, it was just kind of like, it seemed out of place for me because it didn't seem like there was much between Belly and Jeremiah. Like, he really liked her, but like maybe I'm just seeing it that way because it's in her perspective and she doesn't really feel that way about him. So anyway, moving on to Cam, he was like the third guy who's in this. I feel like he is not going to be that relevant because I know that this is obviously just a love triangle with her and the other two boys, and so I feel like I shouldn't care that much about him, but like he was obviously in this story and I really liked him. Like, he was really sweet and he was pretty like open about how he felt about her, and he didn't play any games with her, and he kind of made it obvious that he liked her. And he was the only one out of these boys that like made it apparent, because I feel like we would see like Jeremiah and Conrad show like jealousy and stuff, but like they wouldn't really do anything about it. But Cam, he made it obvious that he liked her. But I also feel like I shouldn't care that much about him because I know, at least I'm pretty sure, he's not going to be that relevant like later on. But obviously I don't know like what role Cam is going to play like later on, if he's going to play a role at all, if he's going to come back up. So I kind of feel like I wish there was less of him since he's not really part of like the love triangle, at least as far as I know. I mean, I get why, because obviously he's there for a reason. He obviously kind of caused like the other guys to feel this jealousy and eventually like be more open about their feelings towards her because they saw her with another guy. So I guess I see why he's relevant in terms of that, but I also feel like he was a likable character, and it's kind of like she's gonna end up forgetting about him, I'm assuming, and like moving on to one of the other two boys. I kind of wish we just got more of like Conrad and Jeremiah and seeing her relationships with them. That way I could like kind of root for that a little bit more. So yeah, obviously the ending of this book, I'm not going to go into what happens, but it's kind of open-ended. Like, it leaves a lot open for what's gonna come next. Like I said earlier, the feelings of all of these characters kind of come up. I don't want to like go into spoilers about it, but obviously Belly kind of makes it apparent how she feels about each of the boys, and they kind of also make it known how they feel about her. So yeah, I just feel like the ending left a lot of things kind of open and like sets things up for the next book, so I'm really excited to go into the next book. And the ending also left things open, like with each of the relationships. Like, there wasn't really any conclusions, I guess, for the most part, of like what happens with each of the three guys. Kind of, I guess it kind of was, but I don't know, I won't say too much. But I do feel like it set things up really well for the series, so I'm excited to go into the next book. I will obviously give all my thoughts once I finish that one, but I did really enjoy this book and I rated it 4 stars. So I just finished book 2 and I have a lot of thoughts on this one. Before I go into my thoughts on this book, I do just want to say that I am going to keep it like pretty much mostly spoiler free. I'm not going to give any like huge plot points away, but I am going to kind of talk about things and like my feelings on like certain characters and stuff, so that might be considered a spoiler. And I'm going to kind of talk about a few things that happened. I'm going to try not to go like too in depth, but if you don't want to know anything at all, then don't watch this. They might be considered minor spoilers, but I'm not going to give anything too big away. So I did enjoy it. Like, overall I felt like I was very invested in the story and I was really interested in what was going to happen the whole time. And something else I really liked about this book was that we got kind of those flashbacks again. The first book had a lot of flashbacks to when they were younger, and I like that we got that, and then we also got flashbacks to stuff that happened within the last year, leading up to the summer that this book takes place in. But this one was a little bit of a sad book. The first one was like pretty cute and lighthearted for the most part, but this one kind of wasn't, and it was a lot more serious. There's just a lot more like angst and just like other things that were more like serious topics that came up in this book. But yeah, so going into the characters, I'm gonna start with Belly because I do like her so far. Like, she's an okay character to me. I don't really have like, I don't dislike her, but I don't exactly love her either. I feel like I've seen people talk badly about her, like they don't really like her. I don't know if it's just because like I haven't gotten to the third book yet, and maybe in the third book is where like she gets kind of bad, but so far I don't like dislike her or anything. Like, yes, she can be like annoying sometimes, but also like she's a teenager and she's acting like a teenager, so like I don't blame her for acting the way that she does and doing things that she does, because I feel like she's a teenager and I don't expect her to like act like an adult and be super mature when she's 16 years old. But yeah, but so far I do like her, but we'll see what happens in the third book because I know a lot of people don't really like her that much. And then Conrad, I don't really like him actually. I think he's kind of annoying. Like, just the way that he acts annoys me. I don't really like it. I get that he's obviously like gone through a lot, and obviously like I get why he is the way that he is, but at the same time, like, I just don't like that he's not very open about his feelings and he kind of leaves her feeling unsure. I just don't like the way that he is towards her. I feel like she deserves someone who makes her feel like they want to be with her. And then Jeremiah, I do really like him. I feel like in the first book I was just a little indifferent towards him, I guess. I don't know, he was like fine in the first book, but I didn't really have like any strong feelings towards him. I felt like he was just kind of there, but I feel like in this book I actually really liked him, and I just feel like he likes her and he's not really like holding back from that or like keeping his feelings to himself, so I really love that. Obviously he kind of does because of his brother, but like at the same time he does make it known that he likes her. But yeah, like I said, I mean, obviously they've both gone through a lot, so like I see why they react to things the way that they do, and it's like interesting to see the way that like Jeremiah reacts to what's happened and the way Conrad does, and kind of like the different relationships that they have with all the other characters. So like that's something I am keeping in mind with like my opinions on them, but I still just am annoyed with the way Conrad acted throughout this book. So now going into like the different relationships, like Belly's relationship with Conrad and then her relationship with Jeremiah. So starting with Conrad, there's just something about their relationship that I don't like, and I don't really know like what it is. Like, I don't really like that he's older than her, for one, I guess. Like, it's not like a huge age gap or anything, but she was 15 in the first book and he was 18, and yes, she turned 16, but I don't know, I just feel like that's like a weird like age. Like 15 is very different from 18. But yeah, that's not something that like bothers me too much, but it is something that like was a little bit weird to me at first. And I also just don't really like that like everyone knows how much she likes him and it's really obvious, and I feel like he probably knows too, but he doesn't like reassure her or anything, or like make it obvious how much he likes her, and he kind of pushes her away a lot, so I just don't really like that. And yeah, I guess I just don't really like that dynamic of her loving him and it being really obvious, and maybe he loves her too, but he doesn't make that known at all. I mean, I guess like, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of overthinking it and it's not that deep, but I just don't really like that whole dynamic between them. But I did like the little moments between them that were like actually like cute moments, and I like that we got to like go back and see kind of all that's happened between Belly and Conrad within like the last year, especially like with the ending of the last book. It was very open-ended, and I'm glad that we kind of like got to see what went on there and everything. We kind of caught up to that moment of where the last book ends and just like see more of the two of them. But Conrad did really annoy me in this book, and I just don't see how I can like him or be team Conrad, but I guess we'll see what happens in the third one. But with Belly and Jeremiah, I like Jeremiah, but I feel like there's not really any chemistry between the two of them. But throughout this book I was team Jeremiah. I just like their relationship a lot more, and I just feel like there's kind of a better dynamic between them, but maybe it's just because like they're friends too. So obviously after this book I am team Jeremiah. I really like him a lot, and I like the idea of him and Belly together. So overall I did enjoy this book. I was really like interested in it. I was invested in what was going to happen with all the stuff that was going on in this book and what was going to happen between her and both of these guys, because I really didn't know what direction this book was going to go in when I first started it. So yeah, I also ended up rating this one 4 stars. Now I'm going to go into book 3, and I'm kind of nervous for it because I've heard different things about it. I've heard that it kind of ruins the way certain characters are seen and stuff, so I'm a little bit scared, but I'm also really excited to see how it goes and everything that happens in this one. So I just finished book 3 earlier today and I really enjoyed it, but I also kind of have some mixed feelings on it. So again, I'm not going to go super in depth into plot points, but I am going to talk about like my thoughts on certain things that happen and my thoughts on certain characters. characters. So this part of the video is going to be kind of like the most spoilery of all like the 3 parts that I've done so far. I won't like give away what they did or anything like that, but in sharing my thoughts on these characters that might be considered a spoiler, so I just want to give that warning now because I do want to talk about those things. But again, I'm not going to give like any huge like plot points away or anything like that. At the very end, I'm going to do like actual like full spoilers, like talking about things that I didn't really get to talk about earlier. So like I said, I had some mixed feelings on this book, and this one honestly made me really upset, but I did enjoy reading it. Like I got super invested in the story and I was really interested in what was going to happen. So yeah, first I want to go into each of the characters. So of course, starting with Belly, I personally like, I don't love her or anything, but I don't dislike her either. Like I feel like she's an okay character, and I like her overall. I've seen people say that they don't like her, that they think she's annoying, or like she did annoying things and like made dumb decisions. I personally don't think she's that annoying. I said earlier how she was acting like a teenager, so like I didn't expect her to act like an adult when she was a teenager. In this book, she is still a teenager, so like yes, she's maybe making some dumb decisions, but like I don't know, she's not, I mean she is an adult at the same time, but I don't know, I just like I didn't expect her to be like super mature or anything because I know that she's really young. And I mean, yes, she jumped back and forth between like 2 brothers and like I can see why that's like kind of, you know, why is she doing that, but at the same time like I feel like they kind of put her in the middle, and they were kind of, I guess mainly Conrad was kind of like playing games with her a little bit. Well, not really playing games, but he was just acting the way that he was, and it just kind of caused her to kind of be in the middle of this because they both had feelings for her. And so I feel like the way she acted and stuff, it wasn't like entirely her fault because she was just like put in this position where she's between the 2 of them, and they kind of like put her in the middle in a way, and they kind of made things more complicated for her because, well, I can't go into why, but like they were kind of the ones that made things more complicated for her. And I feel like her decisions were pretty easy most of the time, like the decisions that she made and like the guy that she would choose and stuff. Like I feel like when she chose certain guys, like it made sense. So now with Jeremiah, I said at the end of the last book that I was Team Jeremiah, and in the first few chapters of this book I was really happy with it. I thought it was so cute, but then I just was so upset with him in this book. I really did not like him. He just did so many things that I think were definitely out of character, and I didn't like him at all. Like I very quickly was not Team Jeremiah anymore when I was reading this one. But with Conrad, I wasn't Team Conrad either. I was actually really annoyed with him too in the way that he acted in this book, and I was annoyed with him in the first 2 books too, and then in this one I was also really annoyed with the things that he did. But it kind of like switched, where with Jeremiah I liked him in the beginning and then I kind of started to not like him, and Conrad I didn't like him in the beginning but then I started to like him. But I will say I was kind of like okay with both of them like by the very end of the story, but I also kind of like wasn't on either team by the end, just because the way Jeremiah was in this book made me not like him anymore. And even though I started to like Conrad towards the end, I like couldn't forget the way that he was in the first 2 books. So now there's a few side characters I wanted to mention. So first, starting with Belly's mom, I feel like throughout these books you see that Belly kind of has a better relationship with Susanna than she had with her mom. I don't know, it's kind of sad to see, but at the same time I liked seeing the relationship that Laurel had with Conrad. I thought that was really sweet, and I actually really enjoyed seeing that, and I love that they had some moments together. And then I wanted to mention Cam because he was in the first book, and I mentioned how I liked him in the first book because he was the only one who like wasn't playing games with her and just made it very obvious that he liked her, and she kind of ghosted him, and then he just like never came back, and that kind of made me sad for him. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention him because I wasn't sure if he was going to come up again because I liked him in the first book. I knew like he wasn't relevant and like he wasn't part of the love triangle obviously, and I get why he was there. Like he was kind of more there to like push the other relationships forward. But yeah, but I expected like something at least to happen. Like I expected him to pop up again or something. And then there's Taylor, and I actually really liked Taylor in this book, which surprised me because she was like not a very good character in the last 2 books, and she was kind of like a bad friend. But in this book she like has gone through a lot of development, and she was actually really likable in this book, and I actually ended up really liking her in the end. So yeah, even though I was really annoyed with this book and the things that happened, I was very invested in it. This one's probably the one that I was most invested in of the 3 books, and I did really love the ending. Like I thought it was cute, and I ended up rating this one 4.5 stars just because of how into the story I was and how much it like pulled me in. And this was one that I just kept reading because I really wanted to know what was going to happen. So even though I was upset with this book, I still really enjoyed reading it just because of how much the story pulled me in. So now I'm going to go into some spoilers. Most of these spoilers are about the last book, but I'm gonna kind of talk about stuff that happened in the first two a little bit. So first of all, I want to talk about Susanna because I like didn't really talk about her at all, just because I didn't obviously want to spoil anything with the fact that she is in the first book, but then obviously she passes away and we like don't get to see her after that. But I really loved her, and I mentioned earlier how I loved the relationship that she had with Belly, and I also loved that even though she wasn't there, she was still like a part of the story and she was still a significant character even in like the other two books. So yeah, I also want to talk about Jeremiah and Conrad, going into the spoilers about them. So I don't get in the third book why their personalities like suddenly flipped, and like first we see Jeremiah like kind of, I guess, technically cheating on Belly. I know like they were on a break, but like what he did still wasn't okay, and then they just like get engaged all of a sudden to like solve this issue of trust between them, which was a horrible idea. And so like, I don't know, he just wasn't like the same Jeremiah that I loved in the first two books. But then Conrad, in the first two books, I mentioned how I didn't really like him. He annoyed me a lot because of the way that he was and the way he treated Belly. I do feel like we got flashbacks though where we see that he actually did really care about her, and we did get to see like certain flashbacks of their relationship where we see that, you know, they did really like each other and they had like kind of a good relationship at one point. But yeah, I just thought it was weird that he like acted the way that he did in the first two books, and then in this one he kind of wasn't like that anymore. Well, actually he still kind of was. He still annoyed me in the last book because he was still like kind of being the way that he was, where he was like playing these games and taking back what he said. Like he finally confessed his love to her, but then the next morning he like takes it back, and that just kind of ruined things again for me. Like I thought he finally was gonna like, you know, stand up and like make his feelings apparent, and then he just like took them back and just kind of made me see that he didn't really develop as a character in those 2 years. So yeah, I just kind of feel like I wish that he would have fought for her more than what we saw in these books. And I don't like how the last book was written, like with these characters, like the way that they just flipped. Like it just made me not like either of them. So yeah, so I said earlier how I'm kind of not team either of them because I think they both kind of suck, and I feel like Conrad wasn't like entirely redeemed in the end. Like he still acted the way that he did until the end basically, and then we get like this time jump and her and Conrad are married, which I did really love. That I did think it was cute even if he made me upset, and I was like smiling throughout that part, and I am glad that they were all able to like be in each other's lives in the end, like all three of them, because Jeremiah was at the wedding. But I also feel like we didn't get to see Conrad's development because obviously like they get married in the end, and there was like that time where they were apart from each other and he obviously like developed as a person. But I do also love that they took time apart from each other, because I think like with the way book 2 ended, it kind of like made it seem that Belly was like running away from her wedding and she was running away with Conrad. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen in this book. But I'm glad that like her and Jeremiah didn't get married that day, and that she actually took time away from them and got to kind of grow on her own before she eventually got back with Conrad. And I did really love the letters. Like he wrote her all those letters, so I feel like in a way those letters were kind of showing his development, I guess. So I don't really know how I feel about Conrad exactly. Like I want to be team Conrad because I think the ending was cute and I am glad that she ended up with him and everything, but just the way that he acted in the first 2 books kind of ruins it for me. But yeah, like I said, even then I still thought the ending was really cute, and even though I don't really know like who I prefer, I think I lean more towards team Conrad. So yeah, now I want to just give quick overall thoughts. This part isn't gonna have any spoilers. So I really enjoyed this series. I do wish I would have read it when I was younger. I think I would have loved it even more if I had read it like when I was in the age demographic for these books. But it was a really cute story. I did get really invested in it and I like really cared about these characters and what was gonna happen. So now that I'm done with it, I am kind of sad, but I am really excited for the show now, and I'm interested to see how they're gonna do that, especially because I can already see like changes from the books to the show just from the trailers. But I am really excited to watch it. By the time this video is up, the show will have already come out, so I am planning to do another video for that. I want to like watch the show and kind of share my thoughts on that, so I'm really excited to watch it when it comes out. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this series. If you've read it, I would love to hear them. And yeah, if you liked this and you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.